The closing schedule is out on the OBO website right now. If you go to obo.uni.edu, you can find it right away on under our news and announcements. There's a link to it. It's also under the accounts payable page under other resources. There's a lot of important dates out there that you will want to pay attention to. So I would highly recommend you go and check out the full document. But for today, I'm just going to kind of call attention to a few of the key dates. So to start with, Friday, January 10th, this will be the last day that approved purchase requisitions will be accepted for the general fund. Monday, June 13th, this is the last day that we recommend you making any P-card purchases that you want charged to the fiscal year 22 budgets. This is just to make sure that any purchases that you make will still post by June 25th, the last date of the cycle. If you purchase after that, there's a chance that it may not post until after the 25th, which means it would fall onto the July statement, which would get charged to fiscal year 23. Friday, June 17th, this is your last day to purchase from the iProcurement stores. And then the big date to know with a lot of things that you need to keep in mind for that date is July 6th. It's a Wednesday. This is your last day that you can, that we will accept requests for payments. Travel expense vouchers need to be fully approved in workflow. All invoices for PO purchases need to be sent in by that date. It's the last day to receive in Oracle for PO purchases that are delivered by June 30th and prior. It's also the last day the procurement card vouchers will be accepted for fiscal year 22. They need to be approved in workflow, and this includes the June statements. Again, so for travel and Pro Card, they have to be fully approved. So that means it has to get through everyone and get to us by that day. Request for payments, you have to keep in mind too that we are the first step. So even if we get them on July 6th, it still has to route through the rest of workflow. So you want to keep that in mind for anything that you have coming through kind of right there at the end to make sure that everyone in the workflow gets their approvals in by the end of the day as well. And then finally, Monday, July 11th, that's the last day for adjusting journal entries for fiscal year 22 to be accepted as well. I'm assuming there may be some questions. I don't know if Christina's going to have that at the end or want to ask them now.
Yes, any questions that you have for any of our presenters, you can put in the Q&A box and we will address those at the end so that we can get through all of our presentations first.
And that is all I have for some of the key dates for the closing schedule.
Christina, are you still with us? There we go. Okay, so my name is Lucas Nelson from Office of Business Operations, and today I'm going to talk through a couple of new e-commerce solutions that we've been working for. The first of them is called Blackthorn Events. This is going to replace the web forms that you're all used to creating when you're trying to capture event registrations. Blackthorn offers a much more seamless way for you to collect registration and payment when payment is required. You can have free or paid events. The system is pretty intuitive and user-friendly. After you're shown it once and you are set up to create events, it's our hope that you're able to continue doing that on your own without assistance from IT. This also offers backend reporting for you, which I know a lot of you are missing to see who has registered for the event. So to get started with Blackthorn, go ahead and submit a Service Hub ticket using the Get IT Help option. And then soon coming for Blackthorn Events, IT is working on a user webpage to help you navigate creating these events. Here's just an example of an event that was recently created. This is Rally in the Valley. If you'd like to see the event on your own, BSC didn't know I was going to plug them, but if you go to supportthepanthers.com and choose Rally in the Valley from the events, you can go in there and see this for yourself. And then our second option for e-commerce is the eStore. This is more of a shopping cart experience when you're selling physical or digital goods. You and I did have a custom shopping cart that was created, but this is replacing that. So the stores will be maintained by your department once you're set up. And to get started using the shopping cart, if you have goods to sell, go ahead and submit a Service Hub ticket or send an email to obo@uni.edu and we'll help you get set up for that. If you want to check out some of our current stores that are set up to see if this is something you're interested in, go ahead and go to uni.estore.flywire.com. And this is being recorded, so you can grab that later on and I can put it in the chat as well. You can go there and check out some of the stores that we already have set up. That's all for me.
All right. Good morning, everyone. It's been a while since I've been at the users group meeting. So I just have kind of a refresher. We were supposed to be sending out self-support fund worksheets last week, kind of distributing them. Little delay. We're kind of waiting for some more information, but so hopefully we will get those worksheets out soon and you can start getting those updated. So I'm going to pull up one that was submitted last year, just kind of a refresher. There's nothing new with the worksheets, maybe a couple little new features that we've changed, but other than that, it's the same, but kind of just a refresher of how they're supposed to be filled out, where they're located. So if you can see my screen, I'm at in my universe at the Work at UNI tab. And if you go into the custom UNI applications, you'll see budget self-support funds. And we will distribute these to the divisions and then they'll distribute them down to the colleges, the department levels. So this is where you'll find the ones that you are responsible for. In the view, and then you'll select a batch, load the batch. Mine is going to pull up all of them. Yours should probably just show the ones that you are responsible for. I'm going to go ahead and narrow it down to just one. And then you'll click this edit button. And so here's one of the self-support fund worksheets. And just kind of going over, the columns on here and what needs to be filled out. This actual prior year kind of just gives you a history of what the entire fiscal year was. This was for fiscal year 20. It just kind of gives you an idea. This is the activity that happened that fiscal year. Current actual July through March. So this is saying, for fiscal year, let's say it's 22. This is going to give you all of the activity that posted to the account July through March. We send these out, we kind of do a snapshot of July through March. So this is all of the activity just July through March. And then this actual projected column, this is where we want you to fill out where you think the fiscal year will end. So you can see here through March, this account had $6,000 of revenue and we're projecting 12,000. So another 6,000 from April, May, and June. So that's why there's 12,000 in here. Again, salaries, this is where we're expecting it to be for the entire fiscal year. So update this column based on where you think the fiscal year will end. And you can see down here, because these self-support fund worksheets, the funds carry over from year to year, you'll see your beginning balance here. So in this case, at the end of fiscal year 20, there was $67,000 in this account. After I put in my projection of where I think I'm going to end for the current fiscal year, it's saying I'm going to have 66,000. This account is expecting to have a loss of $1,300. So then what we want for the proposed budget, what we find a lot of times, some of kind of the questions we get or some of the changes that we have to reach back out for are these two columns. One is a lot of times people will just enter, what this column says. And maybe that's true. Maybe there won't be any new activity for the, the last 3 remaining months of the fiscal year, but try to, project out where you think that fiscal year will end. And then the budget. So this is what the current budget is for the current fiscal year. And then this is where we want you to put what you plan for this account in the next fiscal year. So, a lot of times what we'll see in here is they'll just put the same budget in there. Same budget will go in here. We want you to really, think about, well, what are the plans for this account? So for example, this revenue, maybe this particular account is billing for a service. And so we do expect the fee to be the same. So we do expect $12,000 again for the next fiscal year. And then the personnel lines, it'll default in here based on the projected salary increases and then the new fringe rate. But maybe you know that this employee actually retired and you don't need this line anymore. So you can zero this out and put in the comments, retired in April. If you make any changes to a personnel line, it's going to require you to put in a comment in here. And that just helps us to make adjustments as needed in the budget based on the personnel. So, and then let's say that that this salary is going to change. It's not going to be 1.3, it's going to be 2%. You can make that change in here, hit apply, and it'll update that. The fringe benefit rates, the new rates will be pre-populated in here. Again, you can hit apply. It'll make a change based on any salary adjustments that you made in here. And then again, any changes that you make to these will require a comment, just kind of a justification or a clarification there. And then your S&S, what are the plans for the account? What do you plan to spend the money on? And that's where you'll go ahead and enter those dollar amounts in here as far as what you plan to spend the money on. Data and voice, those, change based on the number of FTEs you have in your account. Overhead allocations, again, a lot of departments will just put, maybe the same number they had in the year before. That is, overhead allocations are 2.5% of your expenses. So depending on what you entered for expenses in here, that will change. The overhead again is the 2.5%. And then, so down here, you can see the plan is for this account to be short $1,500, but that's okay. We plan that, we want that to happen. In this case, this account has, some funds in there that, we do plan to have a loss, and that's okay. And what we do when we review this is we look at this bottom line. So sometimes we'll get accounts, that will have a negative here. And we're like, well, we can't plan for an account to have a negative, so we need to make some adjustments in the budget in these lines so that this comes out, at least 0 or a positive number. So just thinking about this budget, just try to be realistic as far as what your plans are for the account. And it's okay if it's, if you're planning to spend more than what you're going to have for revenue, maybe we're not going to charge anything. We delete this, but we still have this balance. So we have some expenses, some plans to spend some of that money, and that's okay. And the reason that we try to say be realistic for this is we have auditors that will, review this and they'll say, okay, you budgeted, let's say $30 million for your self-support fund worksheets, but you only spent 20 million, or something like that. So why is that? Well, it's because that's what was entered in the budget, but that wasn't what realistically happened. And whatever you put here is what's going to show up on your statement of account for your budget. So it's kind of a helpful tool then when you go to statement of account, you can see, oh yeah, we plan to have $12,000 of revenue. We were only getting 10. So we're a little short there than what we had budgeted or what we had planned. And then once you have completed this, you can just hit submit worksheet, and it'll go up the chain until it gets to the division level. And maybe there's an object code, that's missing from here, like you want to do some in-state travel, but it's not showing on here. You can add that object code in here, hit add, and it'll send us a notification to get that added. And then you can go ahead and put a budget in for that. And so, like I said, hopefully these will be out soon and everyone can start working on it. I know you're anxious to get started, and so are we. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good. Can we hear me now? All right. So, good morning. This is John Westhoff. I'm over in purchasing. One of the things we were looking at is as far as purchasing, and we're always kind of looking at to see how we can make purchasing easier for campus. And one of those steps is always iProcurement. So one of our goals in iProcurement and one of our goals is purchasing is to try to make the iProcurement process quicker, simpler, and more effective for your use. So we have looked at a lot of different options, and we have some pretty strong vendors in there already with Office Depot, Dell, and some of our higher use vendors. And we've always kind of had an eye on Amazon, and Amazon's a very large use vendor on campus. So we've been working with Amazon for the last couple of months to actually get them implemented into the iProcurement stores. The goal of this is that it simplifies the whole process. We're located in one spot. We have all of our your high use stores in one location. By having an iProcurement, you're reducing some of the stuff you have as far as sign-ons, remembering passwords, entering P cards and things in those lines. So we've been working on the process to get it going, and we're getting close to launching. We're actually doing some test work here now for some departments to do some initial kickoff. So you're keeping all the benefits that you had with the Business Prime. So everything you're getting now that you've had before with Business Prime, you're still getting with Amazon. We have the free shipping. We've got tax exemption. The big thing you're going to notice on your end is the fact that the invoicing is going to come through handled the same way as your Office Depot orders are handled. So you're really looking at placing the order and making sure that you're getting the receiving done for us, and we will handle all the invoicing issues and concerns on those lines. So. And the other main piece is the fact that all approvals are handled through the purchasing hierarchy, so you won't need anything after the fact, and that's kind of a benefit for us as well, because then we're making sure that we're having the people who need to view your order or need to view your purchase before as opposed to after the fact. And that's kind of one of the things we're really working on too, is making sure that everything's approved before. So some of the common questions we get are, the question on the buying policies is Amazon does this make Amazon my go-to spot for everything? And my answer for you is no. Just because we're putting in the iProcurement store doesn't mean that it's the only place you should shop. Amazon's great for certain needs, and there are certain things that Amazon does provide that the other stores do not. But there's also our contracts in place, so we're still going to keep our restrictions out there. We're still be looking at stuff, so there still will be reviews done on the Amazon orders. It's just we're putting Amazon in a spot where it's easier for you to use. Another question we get a lot is, can you use the Amazon Prime, Business Prime for your own personal use? And of course, the answer is no on that. And one of the good things is with transitioning to iProcurement is that you will be able to have your orders available for viewing. So just because we're switching to the new system, you're not losing any of your Amazon order history. One of the things, why are we sharing this today, or why we're letting you know on this? We don't do this with the other stores when we announce them. We know that Amazon's one of our more frequently purchased locations. We had over 3,800 orders last year at Amazon alone. So we want to get this out in front of people and let you get some ideas as going. The big thing is you've got people in your office who purchase from Amazon who may not have access to iProcurement or may not be in iProcurement right now. So we'll either need to work on getting those folks in iProcurement and getting them trained, or discuss how you want to handle the business process in your office, whether that's handing the orders off to someone else to place or how they want to do this. So I want to kind of get that discussion rolling with you guys right now. There also is I want to have the discussions, make sure we're understanding where we're at as far as how and what we use Amazon for. To me, that's a big piece of where we're going with Amazon. And making sure that it's still understood that this is a resource, but it's not our main tool. And it's not our only, Amazon shouldn't be the only place you look for things. We have plenty of other great contracts out there, and we're still going to be enforcing our restrictions on those contracts. So if you have questions or anything else, feel free to give me a call. I have a number here on that slide, but it's 6246. Glad to talk to you individually, figure out if we can work out a plan or how we want to approach everything. Like I said, we're looking at July 1, so we're starting the new fiscal year with Amazon being out there. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ben Arnold. I'm the Director of IT Client Services on campus, and just wanted to take a minute to talk to you about IT purchasing and maybe a new direction on that we're looking to go here in the near future. So as we're all aware, a lot of issues potentially surrounding purchases of technology and IT systems, all the way from computers to software to equipment. Sometimes even is considered an IT purchase if it's going to connect up to our network, or if it's going to integrate in some way with other IT systems on campus. So today, requisitions are most frequently sent through the system for purchases, or a purchase is made on a pro card and things are reviewed after the fact. And oftentimes it's prior to IT involvement. So that will often slow down the process. The procurement folks, the business office folks will come to us and ask if something's okay. Have you reviewed this? Is this particular purchase going to work? Those kinds of things. And IT also has some reporting needs. So we, from the tier process that happened a few years back now, we need to be able to report on the different kinds of purchases that are happening, the different percentages across different software areas or computer models and things along those lines. So let's see here. Then oftentimes with IT purchases, we also have different reviews that are necessary. And this is something that's really picked up and has helped our campus quite a bit, but it also can be something that slows down the process as we figure out which different reviews do we even need to do. From a legal perspective, we're oftentimes signing terms of agreement or customer terms or end user licensing agreements, things along those lines. We have to check for accessibility. Is the software or the system being purchased accessible for people with perhaps hearing or visual impairments, things along those lines. Can it be supported, this purchase? And that needs to be reviewed from that standpoint as well. And how does it fit into our cybersecurity posture? We need to make sure from an IT point of view that we're doing all we can to protect your data, to protect the university's data, and protect you as users and part of the UNI community too. So security reviews are often needed. And just ensuring that the purchase fits into the portfolio of services that IT offers. Maybe we already have something that would work for you, those kinds of things. So all these things kind of come together to maybe slow this process down just a little bit these days. And so in talks with procurement, we've come up with some steps that we want to take over the next few months to make it a little bit better, we think. Next slide, there we go. So streamlining the process. What we want to do is create a new service hub form that will ask a lot of the questions that IT will need to have answered right at the get-go. And it's going to be required when purchasing an IT or technology-based item to work with IT or your local IT support prior to any requisition or purchase being made. I think procurement's going to be looking for that service hub ticket number on that requisition to verify that IT has been involved and has signed off on that purchase. So this request is going to really, this new form is going to streamline things by being kind of placed at the front of the purchasing process, and it's going to get the people in IT involved quicker that need to be involved in these various reviews that we need to do. Do we need to bring in the general counsel's office to review terms of service, as an example? Do we need the security office to review a new cloud application or system that your department is looking at purchasing some licensing for. Based on the intelligent questions that we ask on this form, it'll route specifically in Service Hub to the people that need to be involved and get their sign off hopefully a lot quicker than we're seeing today. So that's kind of what we're looking at doing, and we're hoping to have this go live July 1. We're just in the beginning stages of getting these questions kind of mapped out, this flow diagram mapped out of how this will work and where it will route. And so I hope to have in the coming weeks and months, screenshots and even something that we can share out, so that you can see kind of a preview glimpse of what this is going to look like prior to July 1 before anything going live. So we hope to just kind of streamline this a little bit and get those sign-offs from IT, from legal, if necessary, quicker for you by sticking this process, this Service Hub request process at the beginning of any purchase. So you're thinking about a technology purchase. Oh, we better go get this Service Hub ticket put in, get these reviews out of the way. We'll have it well documented. So that you'll know kind of, oh yeah, I think based on what I'm looking at buying, we're going to need to do an accessibility review. I can go out and grab the vendor's accessibility information, stick that into the IT ticket ahead of time so that it kind of speeds things up and gets that flowing a little bit easier through the system. So those are some of our goals. And that's where we're hoping to go with it by July 1. So thank you.
Thank you to all of our presenters today. We really appreciate you sharing your expertise with the UNI community. Now what I'd like to do is make sure that we've addressed all of our questions that we received either in chat or in the Q&A section of the webinar. So we'll start with the chats, and I know that our teams have been answering those questions, but for the folks that are going to be listening to the webinar after the fact, we want to make sure we get those recorded. So we'll start with the question for you, Lucas. Will IT include an overview of all those available event options on Blackthorn?
And the answer to that question is likely yes. And once they have that website available, I will send that out in our monthly newsletter.
Great. Another question for Blackthorn. What kind of payment options will be available?
So currently we will only be accepting credit cards through Blackthorn.
Great, thank you. We have a question for you, John, about Amazon. Michelle asks, will we still need to get pre-approval if something is restricted in Amazon, but is cheaper or more cost efficient in another store or available elsewhere?
We would ask that you do get pre-approvals done. We will be reviewing purchases that are outside. We will still have all the restriction flags that you're seeing currently in Amazon. So getting the pre-approval will speed up the process. Yes.
Another Amazon question for you. What happens if someone forgets that Amazon moved to iProcurement and attempts to do their purchase through the old website?
So what's going to happen is Amazon is actually going to transition all accounts over to the new iProcurement account starting on July 1. So you will not be able to place an order through UNI Business Prime on Amazon starting on July 1. Everything has to go through iProcurement.
Great. And then we have an unrelated question about requisitions that I'll have you answer. Jenny asks, I would like to be able to see more than 10 requisitions at a time. Is there a way to change the view?
I guess I would need more details to know what we're talking about, if that's something the purchasing handler, if that's something we have to look at for an IT piece.
Sounds like, Jenny, if you want to reach out to John and have an offline conversation, that would be great. All right. Another Amazon question for you. Will individual users receive an email from Amazon when the items are shipped?
Yes, you'll get all your notifications. You'll get an order place notification. You'll get a shipping notification. And then if you have any returns or anything else, all notifications that you're currently getting on Amazon, we will still get through iProcurement, and they'll go directly to your UNI email.
And another question on Amazon, can folks still go through Amazon Business on their own? My people order all of their own Amazon items, or do they need to have training on iProcurement to make the purchase?
There will, there will not be availability for Amazon outside of iProcurement. So that's when we'll need to have that discussion, is how we want to handle those. And that might be a good one-on-one discussion we can have, is give me a call sometime. We can, how we want to handle it, whether it's setting up new users in iProcurement, or if it's routing how we're going to do the business approach. And we kind of work with you on the best approach for your office. So each office will be different, I'm sure.
All right, and I have one more Amazon question for you, John. It's a hot topic. For employees who already have Amazon business accounts, will these accounts automatically be deleted and disabled when Amazon is added to the iProcurement platform, or do we need to do something to delete those accounts?
We will actually transition all the account and all the account information for you over on July 1. So that's everything you have, or everything you've placed, you'll be able to visit. You won't have to do anything except for sign in that first day through iProcurement, like you do for Office Depot or any other store. They may ask you to add a name or something along, just to personalize it a little bit for you, but that's all you'll have to do. Everything else will be handled by purchasing.
All right, let's tackle the IT purchasing questions next. So Ben, you're up. Does the new Service Hub ticket route all of these approvals for us, or will we need to reach out to different areas ourselves?
That's a great question. You won't need to reach out to any different areas yourself. You'll just be needing to fill out the one Service Hub form, and we're hoping to be able to build in enough intelligence into the form that it's going to automatically pull in the folks that we need for those approvals.
Great. Will the IT requisition be required for an annual software renewal?
Yes.
Will IT provide guidance on the types of things that require Service Hub entry? For example,
I think
what constitutes an IT purchase, I think, is the question.
Yeah, that's always a really good question, and it's often hard to answer. It's more like I know it when I see it, but we work with procurement on that, and I'm sure we can come up with, some guidelines and things to provide to the community.
It is our goal as well to try to define that a little bit and make it a little easier for campus. And that'll be part of our training we send out to everyone.
Perfect. Thanks, John.
All right. Are IT purchases allowed on Pro cards? I tend to have faculty members who have auto renewals for software subscriptions on their Pro cards, and I don't know the purchases are happening until they are already completed. If a faculty member starts one of these Service Hub requests and gets approval, can they proceed with the purchase on their Pro card?
I don't know that I'm best positioned to answer that one particularly, because I think it's a process question. I know on the Pro card, it's harder for IT to do reviews, especially if it's after the fact. So
typically, it has been the guidance that all IT purchases are required on a requisition versus a procurement card. But if it goes through the approval process and IT gives you permission to post it on your procurement card, that would be allowable, but IT has to provide the approval. Another question came in on Amazon. John, will you and I receive discounted contract pricing from Amazon?
Yes, we will. So we're still a part of the Business Prime, so we'll still be getting our Amazon discount pricing. Amazon handles our discounts or their pricing uniquely, so I can't give you a set answer on how it's going to be laid out or what their pricing is, but they do have an Amazon Business Prime membership that we're a part of, so we'll be getting the same discounts we've received previously.
Thank you. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to add those into the Q&A box. We have another IT question that came in for Ben. If we will be renewing software from 1 year to the next that has already been approved, will we have to put in a ticket for this renewal?
it's recommended to put in the ticket for the renewal, yes, because oftentimes those kinds of vendors change their terms of service, on a yearly or some sort of basis, and it's good to just touch base with us so that we can make sure those terms of service haven't changed to something that the university can no longer allow.
Great. When is the new Service Hub request for IT going to start?
July 1.
All right. Are there any other questions from the UNI community? All right. Would you recommend faculty members cancel their auto renewals on their Pro cards?
Is that for me, Christina?
I think it's for probably accounts payable or procurement.
I think she's looking for a software question. So if,
I guess the question is, does IT want the auto renewals on the requisition still? And if so, then the answer to that question, Shelley, is that yes, they need to cancel their automatic renewals. I have another question that came in. Orders that I place normally come from our IT people. I place no orders unless they come from IT. Will IT put these in?
They'll work with you if that's your workflow in your department today and you're already working with the IT staff. Yes, the IT staff will be trained to be able to help, put those requests into the Service Hub system, either on your behalf or along with you.
She means it. Does she have to put them in Service Hub, or will they already be in Service Hub by the tech person?
Right. And so my answer is they'll work with you to do it. We want the request to be in your name through the department, but the tech person can do that on your behalf or looking over your shoulder along those lines.
All right. Any other questions from the UNI community? With the auto renewals, does this include ones paid by a grant?
I would say yes. I would say we don't really care too much about the funding source. We still need to review the technology in question.
All right, last call for Q&A for UNI community. All right, everyone, thank you so much to our presenters again for taking time out of your day to present to the group. And for those of you who participated, I appreciate all the great questions. Have a great day.
Christina, one more thing.
Yeah.
Could you share with the group where this presentation recording will be shared?
Yes, I can. We are planning to, it takes a little bit for it to download, and then we will send it out to the e-business user group, and we'll also post it inside UNI. Any other questions? All right, great. Thanks so much. Have a great day, everyone.